Well, this morning I'm joined by Buddy Curry. Curry is a former Atlanta Falcon who lobbied for the passage of the Return to Play Act and has been teaching safe tackling techniques for a decade. And Buddy, thanks for being with us. You played 7 years in the NFL. Where was the game when you were playing versus where it is today when we're talking about concussions?
Well, you talk about concussions, the athletes are so much bigger, they're stronger, they're faster. So the kinetic energy on impact is increased greatly. But also the education of everywhere from the doctors all the way down to the players. You know, nowadays we're more aware of what a concussive event is, and there's a good protocol right now to help it.
When you were playing, do you think you realized what a concussion was, or did you just go back in the game if you got your bell rung?
Well, we didn't know what a concussion was. It probably wasn't even in our vocabulary. It was a ding, and it was an event where you had to get back off the field and maybe take some smelling sauce and then go back in as soon as possible because your team needed you and you needed to be a big part of that.
And this has really changed now. You're aligned with USA Football, the youth football sanctioning organization associated with the NFL that's really trying to teach safer tackling techniques called the heads-up approach. And that's part of an effort to change the culture of this game as well.
We need to change the culture. We need a culture of honesty where players, coaches, and parents will be honest in terms of, hey, my son has had a concussive event. We need, and when in doubt, take him out. And so the USA Football has three kind of veins to it. One is correct equipment fitting. Next is concussion awareness and protocol training. And third is actually actual prevention, which is tackling, heads-up tackling.
And you actually had a chance to show me the heads-up technique. Can you explain it for us?
Well, the head-up technique involves hitting with the front part of your shoulder versus the crown of your head and the top of your shoulder.
Okay, and so that really takes the head out of the tackle.
Correct. We want to reduce and if possible, eliminate the number of concussive events, and that happens when the head's involved in an accident. We know that it's not going to be 100%, and because there's always a risk in anything you do, but if we can teach these kids the correct body formation when they get into a collision, then hopefully we can eliminate or reduce the number of concussive events.
And you are actually a master trainer in this technique. Why do you think it's important to share this with others and be a resource for others to teach this?
Well, when I started coaching youth football 12 years ago, I saw a need for coaches to understand how to correctly coach the fundamentals. When we talk about changing the culture or making the game better and safer, you make it better through the coaches, educating the coaches, helping them understand the correct techniques and fundamentals, including correct tackling, which has really changed in the last 4 or 5 years. Then you talk about making the game safer. There's an education component to parents, coaches, and kids so that when a concussive event occurs, there's recognition, the kid is taken out, evaluated, and a medical professional okays him before he goes back on the field.
I know that's a big part of this game today. And 12 years ago, you and former Falcons teammate Bobby Butler formed a nonprofit called Kids and Pros, where former NFL players host camps for kids. Why have you always put an emphasis on playing safe and teaching safe techniques?
Well, it's a matter of making the game better and making the game safer, and we realize that. So, you know, when you're talking about the youth players, they're the ones that need it probably the most because they're forming these I guess they're forming these ways that they do things, and so the way you create muscle memory is you have multiple repetitions. So when I did the same drills at 7-year-olds when I started, then at 29-year-old, and then I just kind of do what I do when I'm out there on the field. So we want to teach these kids at a young age to correct fundamentals so that they just kind of do what they do in terms of hitting without using the head.
Very good. Good information. Thank you, Buddy Curry, for being with us.
You're welcome, Jen.
And if you'd like any more information about USA Football, the heads-up tackling approach, and how to sign up, go to usafootball.com. And for more information about Curry's Kids and Pros camps, go to thekidsandpros.com or call the number on your screen, 770-616-9265. And stay with us. We'll be back after this to wrap up this edition of Public Affairs on Peach.